Morning, guys. Morning. Look at this beast. I read this. And it was good. So let's start there. Let's start with the good news. I liked it a lot more than Oathbringer. So that's a really good point, right? This book was really, really good. What are we reviewing today? Let me start over. Oh my gosh. We're reviewing Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. It is book number 4 technically in the Stormlight series, but there's novellas and things. I think this is like at least the 6th book that I've read that was Stormlight based. Just because, like I said, there's some novellas that introduce new characters and things like that. I have a couple of novellas, I think, and then I am pretty much up to date on Stormlight. I have not read Lost Metal yet. That is on my to-do list, but with nothing else out right now from Sanderson to read that's in this world, I think Tress of the Emerald Sea kind of takes place. At least it's a story told by Hoyd, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I do believe at least a few characters, if not one, make their presence known in Tress in the Emerald Sea. But I don't think it necessarily goes with the whole Mistborn Stormlight stuff. So, I'm just about caught up completely on what Brandon Sanderson has out for this arc. And I will say, the first 2 books, Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, were just the best books. They blew my mind. I don't know if it's sentimental. Let me set that to the side there. Because it was my introduction to these characters. Because it was my introduction to Stormlight. Or if those 2 books were just that good. Warbreaker is like incredible. It is going to be a comfort read for me. I already know. Like, I will be rereading Warbreaker on rainy Saturdays like today. I'm not rereading it today, but I mean, in general, Warbreaker is that kind of novel for me. Just really, really comforting and really, really good. And the characters are like a warm hug. I love Suri and I love Vivian and I love all of their adventures. And so, yeah, that book has a special place in my heart. So I think because I loved those first 3 so freaking much, I set my bar too high for Oathbringer. Because I was coming, like I said, I went immediately from Words of Radiance into Oathbringer. There was no, I mean, I think I read a novella, but there was no space. A lot of times with these bigger books, I will read a big book and then I will read some fluffy orc romance or something in between, you know, just to keep the pacing good. But I went immediately from Words of Radiance into the novella into Oathbringer. And I think that's one of the reasons why, if you go back to my Oathbringer review, I had a few issues with it. It was still good, but it was a tough book to get through. I took a break between Oathbringer and this book, Rhythm of War. Read a few other things, then read Rhythm of War. And I think that was the perfect way for me to do it. Because by the time I picked up Rhythm of War, I wanted back in that world. I wanted to know what was going on again. I was interested in the characters and going back to the Sacred Plains. Or the Broken Plains. You know what I'm talking about. I wanted there. Shattered Plains. Man, I knew the word was right there. It wasn't sacred, it wasn't broken, it was Shattered Plains. So yeah. I picked up Rhythm of War, and I kind of had a low expectation because, like I said, coming off of Oathbringer, I was like, I just don't know. Maybe he's not going to live up to the hype of the first 3 books for me. And did Rhythm of War live up to the hype of the first 3 books? I would be lying if I told you I loved Rhythm of War as much as I loved Way of Kings, Way of Kings, Words of Radiance, or Warbreaker. I would be lying. It was better than Oathbringer, and I thought it was way quicker paced, way more interesting, especially the ending. Once again, Brandon Sanderson is known for doing what they call a Sanderlanche, where everything's going pretty good, and then the bottom falls out, and it's just like tumbling down. So we open Rhythm of War with Navini flying a lot of the radiance and things and the Windrunners on one of her flying contraptions in to rescue people who have just been hit by the Voidbringers. I can't remember the name of the city. But the Parshendi, the Voidbringers, the fused ones have just hit a town where Kaladin's father is as well. His parents are there nursing the injured and things. And so Navini flies them all in on this floating bridge. And they are there to do a rescue. I really love how they have worked Bridge 4 and all of the bridges into these Windrunner characters who are now helping to float these bridges, like where they came from in book 1 with carrying the bridges to now floating the bridges. It's really well done. Really like that arc. I really enjoy what Brandon Sanderson has done with those characters. And then enter Sad Boy. When I say enter Sad Boy, I mean Kaladin. My poor baby Kaladin. He's just got the major sads this book, yet again. Dalinar, who I'm never going to say a book is perfect, and one of my critiques is there's a serious lack of Dalinar in this book. But I digress. Dalinar tells Kaladin, you're too close. You need a break. Hi, girl. Sorry, we are dog sitting another dog, a neighbor's dog right now. She doesn't know the rules yet of when I got the camera out that means you go lay on the couch. My 3 know that rule, but she's just a baby and she doesn't know that rule yet. So she sees me sitting here and she's like, I'm gonna go love on you. So pardon that. But yeah, Dalinar realizes that Kaladin is not making the best choices because of the fact that he's too close to the situation. He needs a break, right? So that's what he gives him. He tells him he is not going to be in the fight anymore. He is going to take on a different role. He needs to figure out what that role is. And so the book is him kind of figuring out his role. He tries to be a surgeon. Tries to please his father, Liren, who we hate. We hate Liren. It's still fuck Moash. Like, it's fuck Moash forever. But it really is fuck Moash in this book. Not gonna do spoilers for the ending, but it's definitely fuck Moash in this book. But I really enjoyed it. The ending is really, really good. Aladin and Shallan spend a good majority of this book in the Shards world. It's got a specific name, but it's basically the Shards world. And so they spend a good amount of time there, just them with their traveling companions. So it's more like in the first book, I feel like, in Rhythm of War, where everybody is off on a little bit of their own adventure, rather than in Words of Radiance and in Oathbringer, where everybody was all together for, like, Oathbringer a little bit at the end, but for the majority, they were all together. This book brings back some of that Way of Kings semblance where everybody is off on their own journey. Dalinar's off doing his own thing. Navini and Kaladin are doing their thing. And then Alan and Shallan are off in Shardsmar doing their own thing. So, yeah. It was a very good book. I would say I give it a solid 8 out of 10. Yeah, it was definitely better than Oathbringer. For me, as far as just the flow, it wasn't dull, it wasn't boring. I didn't force myself to read it. It was really, really good. So, highly recommend Rhythm of War. I think it was a great book for. I'm thrilled and excited in pins and needles for the next book, book 5 in the series. I have heard that it is coming soon, that Brandon Sanderson is really good about giving us books out. Thrilled to hear that. And I cannot wait for it. I am ready for more Stormlight. So, I love you guys so, so much. If you've been reading along with me with this series, what was your favorite book in the series? I honestly think Words of Radiance is probably my favorite book in the series, though Warbreaker has some comforting piece of my heart for the characters. So, let me know what your favorite in the series is. I love you all so much. And have an amazing, amazing rest of your week.